Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai. I want to give all praises and all honor and all glory unto Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakah HaKodash. Double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well and do well, the elder apostles, bishops in Connecticut, the bishops, the preachers, the teachers, the evangelists, and the four winds, preaching in truth and sincerity, risking your lives more now than ever, the hopeful elect, the elect, Shalom, to the Israelite foreigners who phenotype may look like another nation, but bloodline goes back to Israel through your father and have come back to the fold. Shalom to you sisters, you Akwathium, who listen and learn under your husband, which is your spiritual leader, with meekness and with silence. Yep, coming to you in the name of the Father, Yahweh, which means he is the existing one, through his son, Bahasham, which means in the name of the Savior, which it tells you the definition of Yahweh Shai in Matthew 1 and 21, right? And we know the letter J is only 400 to 500 years old, and it did not exist in any alphabet, right? So it can't be a transliteration if it never existed in any alphabet. So with that, we're gonna keep continuing on with the lesson, and we can just go ahead and it says a white man gives a bold truth speech about slavery that left the entire whole room silent, right? So let's go ahead and let's go. Yeah. Oh yeah. Baba Kusha, Salakia. Fair use. This is for educational purposes only. I am not getting any money out of this. It's only for edification. To edify, which means to build up the nation of Israel, which is known as Yasha'Allah, right?
Slavery, many people think it ended centuries ago, but the harsh reality, it never truly went away. From forced labor to human trafficking, slavery still exists in different forms across the world today.
I'm here to talk to you about the problem of slavery. It didn't end in the 1860s. It's a social malady that's with us today, and it's increasing in its scope and virulence. The desire to enslave our fellow man is unfortunately intrinsic to the human character. It has been with us since the beginning of time, on every continent and in virtually every culture. From ancient Egypt to Babylon to Greece and Rome, Africa, Asia, Europe, and the United States. Germany and Japan openly practiced widespread slavery only 50 years ago, and the Soviet Union until less than a decade ago. China even today. It's a disease of our human nature, and yet people are under the impression that it no longer exists. I say to you that in a subtle form, it exists in America today, and it's becoming less subtle and more manifest. Madison Avenue has just cleaned it up a little bit, dressed it up in new words. A slave master is now Big Brother, someone to protect you, someone to confide in. But it's all the same. He owns your life. This may sound far-fetched, but I think I can prove it. When the IRS allows you a tax deduction, they and their congressional collaborators and the media call it a tax subsidy. In other words, they designate it as a gift to you, a subsidy. The only way they could conceive this terminology is by presupposing that they, i.e. the government, own all the money. Their view is that they're entitled to it all. That which they allow you to keep is their compassionate and generous gift to you. How can this be? You create the money by your efforts, your sacrifice, your creativity, your risk-taking. So how can it belong to them? It's very simple. They own you. They own everything you produce, your money, your house, your thoughts and ideas, your children. If you go to a foreign country to work, you still have to pay the U.S. income tax. You could dig a hole in the middle of Siberia and they'd be entitled to a cut of your wages because in their minds, under their law, they own you. They create arcane and esoteric laws to criminalize you. You may try, but you can't obey them. You can't even understand them without a lot of professional help. You have to run around slavishly collecting little pieces of paper, receipts, 7 years of detailed financial records because you might be called on to give an account of yourself as the big boss man. And if you've made a mistake, he can take everything you have. He loves it that way. That's total power over you, slavery. I don't remember when we the people signed over ownership of ourselves. It just gradually happened by them taking more and more of our freedom. But here's the worst part. It's really only just begun. In this modern age, the information age, getting your money is not enough, even though money, don't let anyone deceive you, is the material source of your freedom. Now, however, they want your mind. If you deviate in your thinking, if you commit one of the 10,000 taboos, and they perceive your actions as a threat, they'll come out and kill you. It was the thought police who killed the children at Waco and Ruby Ridge. Neither David Koresh nor Randy Weaver, whatever things might be said about them, had ever mugged anyone, robbed a 7-Eleven, or committed forcible rape or murder. But they did have unorthodox views, and therefore it was necessary to round them up and deal with them. Whatever their crimes were, they could have been arrested and tried openly in a court of law. But that was not the aim of certain factions in the government. These statists wanted a massive demonstration of force to show who was boss. The penalty for resisting is death. After all, we're not free. We belong to the government, and deviant thoughts will not be tolerated. In the aftermath of the horrible Oklahoma City bombing, government propagandists tried to intimidate the people into silence by recklessly linking criticism of the government to acts of murder. Some people ask, how can you fear your government and claim to love your country? Our response is, how can you love your country without fearing your government? Who else holds a counterfeit license to kill, incarcerate, and confiscate for non-crimes? Remember, America is about liberty first and last, not obedience to bureaucrats. The Washington power clique wants you to shut up, get in line, do what you're told to do, and most outrageously, think what you've been told to think. We have hundreds of politicians and thousands of lobbyists crawling all
you like read me whatever you like. Yeah, there's some verses that actually pulls out of the Talmud, and
Go ahead. Yeah.
And this is not going to be me trying to argue it or anything of the sort. I'm just going to read it plainly from the Talmud itself. Like if you look at Sanhedrin 59a, murdering goyim is like killing a wild animal. Avodah Zarah 26b, even the best of the Gentiles should be killed. Sanhedrin 59a, a goy who pries into the law, which means the Talmud, is guilty of death. This is why you can't even trust a Jew when you're talking about the Talmud, because you're trained to lie about it in the first place. Or you look at Liber David 37. To communicate anything to a goy about our religious relations would be equal to the killing of all Jews. For if the goyim knew what we teach about them, they would kill us openly. Can you make this up? Yevamot 11b. Sexual intercourse with a little girl is permitted if she is 3 years of age. Hikkoth Hakam X1. Do not save goyim in the danger of death. In the same excerpt, show no mercy to the goyim. Like, I can go on and on. I basically was prying into the Talmud, what was it, I think 8 months ago, and I just pulled out all...
Hello, my name is Trisha Sanders, and today I'm going to be getting the next implant kit. This kit has 2 chips in it, one NFC and one RFID chip. They're used for like home security and like bus passes and things like that. I'm really excited for it. Basically, the plan for this implant is Melanie will be implanting it between the webbing of my index finger and my thumb. So she'll just kind of pull on it and basically stick a big needle into it, but I'm mostly excited.
The whole agenda is to create a one world government where everybody has an RFID chip implanted in them. All money is to be in those chips, right? There'll be no more cash. And this is going to be straight from Rockefeller himself. This is what they want to accomplish. And all money will be in your chips. And so instead of having cash, anytime you have money in your chip, they can take out whatever they want to take out whenever they want to. If they say you owe us this much money in taxes, they just deduct it out of your chip digitally. Total control. Total control. And if you're like me or you, and you're protesting what they're doing, they can just turn off your chip.
Yeah. So this is Global Voice ad Vox, right? Global Voice ad Vox, digital ID system in Africa, dream of inclusion or a threat to privacy, right? Which of course is a threat to your privacy. I mean, but a lot of people will go, "Oh, I don't have nothing to hide, this and that." Well, when you're trying to make a little money under the table so you can get by without being taxed, because you know if you just make this little bit more money and you have this thing, you can get by, you can put a little bit away, so that way you can, and that's the way we've been able to do it, to try to survive. Even when you had nothing, it was like you had something, because you had something put away for a rainy day or whatever. But under this there's no putting anything away for a rainy day, right? And they're acting like it's all such a good thing. It's important that individuals understand their rights, right? Which you have none. You have no rights, right? And responsibility in the digital age, right? Giving you that new novos ordo seclorum, right? That new age, which is meaning world, right? Which is a time period for Esau to rule. It's just the age, right? And this age is about up, right? Get your Ghana, right, which is a lot of Israelites. So ultimately, this is things that's ultimately aimed at Israelites, right? And it's saying across Africa, governments are rapidly rolling out digital ID systems to improve service delivery, foster economic inclusions, and enhance security. From Ghana, right? Ghana's Maisha Numba to Nigeria, right? Which basically it's basically aimed. Well, the whole world is going to get it, but they're starting in places where there's Israelites, right? At the end of the day, this whole thing is aimed at the Israelites, right? Right? In America, you so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native Indians. In Africa, right? It'll be like what they're doing. They're aiming at Ghana, right? A lot of Israelites are there. Nigeria, a lot of Israelites are there for certain, right? Because that's where when you go into the history of where the transatlantic slave came from, a lot of those Israelites who came to the Americas in cargo slave ships, right, known as the transatlantic slave trade, were what came from Nigeria, right? So that we know that we're directly related to those people. So what are they aiming at? They're aiming at the Israelites, right? We know there's a lot of Israelites in Ghana, and there has to be Israelites in Kenya, but Kenya is mostly heathen. This is why Bishop Nate got out there, sent his men out there to get some golden shower for some Hamites, man, some stinky ass Hamites throwing rocks and all sorts of things at them, getting gassed. Gas canisters knocking them upside their head, right? Almost got what do they call, a stampede or something, man. They was about to maul you guys, man, right? You're in a place you don't belong, right? And it says Nigeria's national identification number, right, which is the NIN, right? Millions use the program for healthcare, right? So they're gonna make it. So I'm saying there's things to make it sound good, right? Healthcare, education, finance. However, in estimated 5 million Africans still lack identification, which that's another way of saying illegals, right? Because in America, you Israelites, right, starting with the southern kingdom, the northern kingdom, right, who they're aiming at, because that's just the obvious easy target to aim it at the northern kingdom, so-called Mexicans, so-called Nicaraguans, and Venezuelans and all the other stuff, so-called Mexicans. It's easy to aim at them, but then you still got you other Jakes that come from Jamaica, Haiti, right, the Virgin Islands, all these different places that you Jakes come from, right, Cuba, right, right. Pastor always say a lot of them people in Dominican are actually Jake. They're actually Judah, man. Right? They probably Judah, Benjamin, or Levi. A lot of them. They don't know it, even though they love Blanco. They want to be like Blanco so much, but hey, Blanco's about to show his horns, right? They're gonna show nothing but pure. You heard him, Russo. Yeah, that's his name. The dude Russo spoke to Nick Rockefeller, and it's gonna be what? Complete, total, and utter control, lockdown, digital lockdown, right? So it says, yeah. So the African Union, the AU, has positioned, it's like a digital identification. It's like, let me see. Let's see if I can.
Positioned.
Yeah, kind of said it right. Position digital identification as a key component of its digital transformation strategy 2020, right? Because they've really been preparing this since the CV19, right? And all the governments are on board with this, right? Aiming to provide an unusual digital identification or identification or identification to every African by 2030, right? And that's just their estimated gain, what they want to do, and it all depends on, right? Because when you go into Second Ezra chapter 16, it says that it's within their power, right? Which is talking about you people. So the things are gonna go about so far, and then people are gonna start pushing back. You're gonna have that's when you're gonna really see race riots and riots, uproars of the people all over the world, right? Because people are gonna see it. Because right now, a lot of these people are seeing it as a good thing. They're like happy-go-lucky about it, right? Not knowing that this is the ultimate sin, right? What does it say? Identifying to every African, but these individuals, Slacky, let me make sure I'm saying this.
Initiatives.
Oh, Slacky, the initiatives aim to unlock, what's it called? The economic opportunities and enhance government's efficiency. Slacky, including, I don't know. Slovakia. Let me try to. No, I didn't want that. Go back. Slovakia. Yeah. Government efficiency. Inclusion. There you go. That's what I wanted to do. Because I'm just trying to.
Seamless.
Oh, yeah. Seamless. Yeah. Okay. Seamless border trade under the African Continental Free Trade Area, right? So let's go and see some of these misled souls who think it's all good. Slakia, y'all. That's dumbass people with the...
The government, through the Ghana Refugee Board and the National Identification Authority, has at all times demonstrated its commitment to protecting the safety and dignity of refugees and asylum seekers in the country. To further enhance such responsibilities, the NIA on Saturday, 19th November, began the registration and issuance of the Refugee Identity Card. The issuance of the card to refugees is a major step aimed at guaranteeing social and financial inclusion for all refugees in the country. Upon registering and due recognition, the refugees will now have access to various services and facilities such as banking and financial transactions, accessing social security, insurance and healthcare, paying taxes, registering a SIM card, amongst others. Here are excited refugees who describe the move as a step in the right direction.
When we came organized, we sat out there and we went in tents and register our information. We came now in here in step 2 and we take our fingerprints and the whole process. And that's it. I'm so delighted. Actually, like it has been like we are at home, but not really at home. But now that it's total integration. So I feel so happy, and I know it is the same for all the others. Because now, my SIM card, I will register my SIM card to start with. Now I can put my bank account in my name. Operate. It's total integration, I would say. At first, we could use our NHS card to register our SIM card. But when the process started, it became a bit complicated. So we couldn't register our SIM cards in our name. Sometimes you have to beg someone to do it. But now, everything is just good, smooth.
It has not been easy for us as refugees go through all of things, especially concerning about the Ghana cards. The decision comes from the country, which everybody should have. A Ghana card to have the access, whether you are a refugee or foreigner or a Ghanaian. So we are part of the community. We were waiting for this time to have the access. So I'm so glad that we have the opportunity to come and go through the process and have their Ghana card. And I am first person to have Ghana cards. I'm so glad. At least with this one, I can have access to have my...
Yeah, see? This was 2 years ago. So they got the people think, hey man, this is a good thing. This is transparency. This is openness. We're here to help you. And they said, hey, this is great. This is a great idea. And this was 2 years ago, mind you. So right here, it's showing you on that thing. This was 2 years ago. But this is gradualism. This is basically what we're breaking down, right? The ultimate end goal is what Russell said that Nick Rockefeller told him, right? Then you had the other Edomite guy at the beginning I showed. He said, you're already slaves. But what do you give a rich man who has everything, man? Right? Yeah. So what do you get everybody a man who has all things, everything, right? Basically starting with the elite, the international bankers, the Gettys, the Oppenheimers, right? The DuPonts, right? The Rockefellers, the Rothschilds, the Clintons, right? Because Clinton goes back into the Rockefeller. That's basically their Rockefeller, right? Bushes, right? Right? Barack Obama, right? He's related to Bush, right? All of them are related. They're all cousins. Every president that's ever been, they were all related. So at the end of the day, but yeah, so when you give the families and the things, and those are just little names that they allowed us to know, right? You know, but it says the merchandise of gold, right? They own that. That's why gold could fluctuate. Now it's at what basically almost 3,500 an ounce for an ounce, and silver. But then silver's like $30 something right now, which right don't make sense, right? And precious stones, and of pearls, and of fine linen, and purples, and silk, and scarlet, and all thine wood, and all manners of vessels of ivory, and all manners of vessels of most precious wood, and of brass, and iron, and marble. Right? They have all things. They got more than hearts can wish. They own the entire world, bro. Right? But what do you give a man that owns everything? When you got the cinnamons, the odors, the ointments, right? You know what I mean? They could cure AIDS if they want to. They could cure cancer if they wanted to. But the money's not in the cure. The money's in the disease. The money's in just stringing you along. Right? They're already multi-trillionaires, but hey, why not get more money? Right? And that's how they think, man. Right? And frankincense and wine and oil and fine flour and wheat and beast and sheep and horses and chariots, right? All the different cars, the different things that you could buy, right? Right, which probably a lot of them, they ain't thinking about buying a Bugatti or nothing like that. They probably drive a simple little ass little Chevy car or something, you know. A rich trillion billionaire, you probably wouldn't even know him. You'd be right in front of your face, and he'll look scrubby, bummy, and stuff like that, which prove to you that they're not the people of the Most High, right? Jake couldn't help himself if he had that. You know what I mean? He got to let you know, cause like wait till we're gonna show you how to rule, right? We're gonna show you how to rule. Every Israelite's gonna have money. We're not gonna divvy up so just only 1% of Israel will be living good and high on the horse, so to speak, and then the rest of Israel is all bummy living in trailer parks. Nah. Right? Walking around spitting tobacco. You know what I'm saying? Talking shit, drinking Coors Light. No, man. We're gonna show you how to rule, man. Right? How it's meant to be done. Right? The Lord says He's gonna make us joint heirs, and then we're gonna give and divvy the things up between our children, man. And they're gonna have things, and our children's children, man. Hey, man. And then the Lord's gonna allow us to go to these different planets, and these different planets got different types of stones and minerals and things that we could use and get and trade, but we're not gonna grade out the whole entire planet, all for the simple fact of just greed. When I'm already a multi-trillionaire, what purpose did that serve? Right? It's the planet you ruling. I want, but that proves the hatred that he has for Jake, right? And it says, and slaves. See, and you got slaves already, because the guy just said, he said, everybody, you're already slaves to him, right? Even his own people, even other Edomites are the elite slave, right? While they're looking at you, hating you, saying racial slurs to you, you're just a slave like everybody else. You're in the goddamn hamster wheel yourself, stupid. But that's okay. You're meant to have hatred, right? And the souls of men. So now the next step for these guys is to get the souls of men, which goes into what? The charagma, right? Yeah, so this is Proverbs chapter 22, verse 7. It says, the rich ruleth over the poor, right? And that's also, right? The Bilderbergs, the DuPonts, the Gettys, the Oppenheimers, the Rothschilds, right? The Clintons, right? Let's not forget them. Them some dirty, murderous, filthy, greedy, some of my guns, man. Right? Bill Clinton, Hillary Clinton, man. Some, you know, hey man, they dirty, man. Right? It says, and the borrower, right, which that's you, right? Because this is a debt society. This society is based off of debt. So you always have to debt. You have to always have to borrow, right? And this became a debt society so much that even they thought, hey, this would be a great idea. Let us start borrowing. So they started borrowing from China, borrowing from Japan. Now the country's in debt. Now they're looking to bail themselves out by making you the commodity. You as the human being, now you're the commodity, which they felt like they always owned you anyway, right? You heard what the guy was reading about the Talmuds, right? Huh? Did you hear it? They always feel like you're goyim, you're heathens, you're nothing. You hey, you're disposable to them, right? They call you useless eaters anyway, right? This is how they feel, right? So it goes back to that, and a borrower shall serve the lender, right? And that's ultimately what it is. That goes all the way back to the international bankers, the Bilderbergs, the DuPonts, the Gettys, the Oppenheimers, ultimately the Rothschilds, right? You have the Rothschild central banks that every country in the world pretty much has a Rothschild central bank, which is how they're ruling through the financial, which that's why every country, even Russia, is going digital. China, though they're so-called having this beef with everybody, and they're having this so-called tariff war. The tariff war is to interrupt the system in order to push in the charagma, right? Yeah, continue on. Proverbs 22:8. He that soweth iniquity shall reap vanity. And ultimately, that's what it is, man. This whole pushing forth the charagma is ultimately the highest form of iniquity. The highest form of because this is when his sin is going to reach into heaven, man. Because these are ultimately Israelites that you're going to be given the charagma to. So then that's when the Lord is going to see forth that now your judgment is set, right? But then you can't keep your enterprise unless you do this. So you're in like a catch 22 situation. You're in a double-edged sword situation. If you do this, if you do this, you're cut. If you don't do this, you're cut. So you know what I mean. You're in trouble, either which way. So of course you're just gonna say to hell with it, right? and go for it. What's the worst that could happen, right? at the end of the day, right? Because what if God is not real, right? I mean, yeah, we see some chariots and it seemed a little spooky, but you know, what if it's just a figment of your imagination or something? You're gonna have to go for it, right? Because ultimately, the Most High is not in all your thoughts. So you know, even though you've seen some, you know, some things that the normal human can't explain, you're gonna continue to go for it. So hey, go ahead and push the charagma. He that soweth iniquity shall reap vanity, and the rod of his anger shall fail. See, and that's ultimately what you're trying to do, man. You're trying to come down. Yeah. So this Revelation chapter 12 verse 12 says, "Therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell there and dwell in them." Right. This is your rulership. Rejoice, man, because ultimately, your rod is ultimately gonna fail. Right. You know. Right. It says woe, right, which means what? Judgment. Ultimately, judgment, destruction, weeping and gnashing of teeth, right, to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, right, which meaning the people, man. The people here in America, Babylon the Great, is going to be weeping and gnashing of teeth because ICBM missiles are coming to waste this place away, man. The besom of destruction is coming, man. It's coming to sweep and clean up your mess, Esau, right? Right? For the devil, right, which means false accuser, right, is come down unto you having great wrath, right, because he knoweth that he have but a short time. So you're going to use your green screens, your AIs, all sorts of things to accuse the brethren. You're going to use all sorts of things to fight against us, right? All because you know that you got but a short time. So all this is basically your rod, right? Your anger, your rulership, right? And the proverb said, because it's filled with iniquity, to think that you're gonna micro C hit all of Israel, and the Most High is not gonna do anything, which you're not gonna do it anyway, because the elect will not bow the knee to the system, man, to Baal, to your system, to anything that you do, right? You mean, if it were possible to deceive the very elect, but it's not possible. If it were, but it's not. It's not possible, right? You're coming down with great wrath because what? You know, he know that he have what? And the devil has come down unto you having great wrath because he knoweth that he have but what? A short time, right? Yes, yeah, says Isaiah chapter 14 verse 4, that thus shall take up this parable, right? A parable is like a song, right? And that's ultimately what you know, with the uproars of the people. They, you know, when like to give you an example, when they say no justice, no peace, right? Right? That's like a way of chanting a song, right? They're gonna say, they're gonna have some type of chant saying you're wicked and the wealthy is wicked, right? Because that's what Trump has. Trump, his whole thing, his cabinet is filled with billionaires who don't care about the poor. And that's ultimately what this thing is about, right? You lend to the poor, you hate the poor, right? So it says, so they're gonna take up the uproars of the people, gonna take a proverb, right, against the king of Babylon, right? And you have a cruel a cruel lord in Egypt, right, which is also known as Babylon, spiritually Egypt and spiritually Babylon, which is America, right? And say, how has the oppressor, right? And that's ultimately what this is. The pushing forth the charagma is the ultimate form of oppression, man. Right? The ultimate form of oppression is the MOTB, right? That novos ordo seclorium that you want to push forth in the earth, right? That's the ultimate form of oppression. But it's gonna what? It's gonna cease, man. You're gonna fail. And the what? And what is Trump calling this? The golden age, right? It's gonna be this golden age, and the Lord said the golden city was what? Cease, man. So this place, Babylon, your golden city, is about to cease, right? It says, Yahweh have broken the staff, right? Which goes into your rod, right? Same thing as your rod of the wicked, right? Because this is dealing with your rulership. And the scepter of the ruler, right? So the Lord is about to destroy your Edomites' rulership, man. Starting with America, Babylon the Great. This thing is about to be uprooted, right? Because this thing is not of the power, right? Because that's what the scriptures say. Yeah, so this is Matthew chapter 15, verse 13. It says, but he answered and said, every plant which my heavenly Father have not planted shall be rooted up, right? And you're a plant that the Lord has not planted, man. Right? So you have to be rooted out. Right? And it says, and he replied, every plant that my heavenly Father did not plant will be uprooted. Right? So you're going to be uprooted, man. You're going to be taken out the way. Right? Yeah, this is Habakkuk chapter 2, verse 5. Yea, also because he transgressed by wine, right? Different, they're basically go to their philosophies, and, the way they give false education, they give you false hope, democracy, treaties, everything that they do, it's always this wine basically that's wrapped in lies, right? They give you, back when they were the Romans and the Greeks or whatever, they had the plebeians, the patricians, right? Which now they have the the Republicans. The Democrats came in, saying all inclusive, black, white, this, that, gay, straight, whatever you had, foreigners, come on in, have a ball, let's have a ball, which was basically causing an issue which causing financial strain to the country, right? Then the so-called Republican comes in, Trump, act like he's gonna help and this and that, and speaks about a man shouldn't be in a woman's bathroom, a man should be in woman's sports, blah blah blah, basically stringing the people along with this way that he, like, if he's gonna come against the oligarchs, and then he ends up this next term pulling in all the oligarchs, all the rich people, because we all knew that the Republicans are about the rich, and they don't give a damn about the poor. But then that's just all of them. All of you are rich, whether the Democrat, Republican, and you don't give a damn about the poor. And that's your wine. Your thing is to string people along and have the lesser of two evils, and each side you feel like you're right and they're wrong, and they feel that they're right and you're wrong, which causes division within your country. And with all that, somehow he is a proud man. He's still proud. Neither a keeper at home, who enlarges his desire as hell, right? Going around military fighting. The youngest country in the world has more wars than any country ever in existence. The eastern part of the world, man, they've been existing. Hey, you heard China? They said they've been around for 5,000 years and plan on being around 5,000 more years. Well, we got news for you. You're not going to be doing. You're going to be eating rats and roaches and puffer fish that's poisonous and stuff, right? Fish without fins and scales. That ain't gonna happen, right? Because we're about to rule, man. The true rulers of the earth is about to rule. Lord willing, a part of that number, man. But if I'm not, man, the Most High, through His Son, Yahushua, and the elect is gonna do it, and they're happen to be my people, man. At the end of the day, right? So it says his desire is hell and is as death, right? When they come, diseases happen, wars, confusion, what do they call it? Coups and uproars of the people happen, right? And that's what's about to happen all over the world. Uproars of the people, all and cannot be satisfied, right? Because, like I said, he can't be satisfied. You technically got all the things of the world, and it's not good enough for you. You need the souls. You need the souls of men. You have to complete that desire to be as God, right? To micro see Him, so you can know when they're up, when they're asleep, when they're awake, when they do this. So you control all aspects of life. It's not enough for you, and His desire is as hell and cannot be satisfied. His desire is as hell and is as death and cannot be satisfied. Salakia, but gathereth unto Him all nations, and He put unto Him all people, right? And that goes into Sheol. Sheol meaning grave, right? A hole, right? They come to your country, and they what they did to Gaddafi. They killed him, and just basically made it like a pit, a grave. It's all out of course. It's all messed up. But also, wars and things and death and diseases come when the Edomites show up, man. Right? And so this one says, all nations He seizes all people, right? And go around warring with all sorts of people, man. Right? Right? So it's to keep going. This is and shall not all these take up a parable against him and a taunting proverb against him and say, woe, right? Woe means judgment. Weeping and gnashing of teeth to him that increaseth that which is not his, right? Which is not his. How long? To him that layeth him himself with thick clay, right? Going into the going into the whole point of that debt system, right? The abatya, right? The debt system, which also, right, which, like I said, it's going to bring uproars of the people. And what I was saying earlier, right? It brings what the people rioting, and they're gonna have what these taunting songs.
Strong's H 4426. Melitza.
Militza, right? Star tire. Mocking what poems, right? Look, it says mocking songs, right? And that's what they're gonna be out there yelling, people protesting, yelling these different little songs, and I mean, I don't know, because I ain't never went and protest like that, but they'll say something about the rich, because it's gonna get more. It ain't gonna be like, hell no, we won't go. or no justice, no peace. It's going to be like the rich, the richest, the rich just lie, they need to die. The rich just lie, they need to die. The rich just lies, they need to die. It's gonna be like a taunting. It's gonna be something along those lines, right? I don't really know. Just saying, right? Like people, these other countries saying, DTA to America, right? Right? So, oh yeah, continue on with that, right? I might as well, because I'm already in there, right? Thick clay, a batyat, thick clay, which is a batyat, which is what? A weight, a pledge, right? Which basically means like what you would do at a pawn shop, which ultimately a lot of times when you get loans and things, it puts you more in debt, right? You take a loan, title loan, auto loan, home loan, payday loan, wherever you take, it actually a lot of times it actually just puts you more in debt, right? Puts you in a worse situation. Which in Arizona they took away the payday things, but then made the title loan, which is worse, right? My vehicle is how I get around. The vehicle is how I get back and forth to work. So if I lose my vehicle as far as the title loan, then I have no way to get back and forth to work as it is. You know what I'm saying? It would be better to have the payday loan because at least I can wait around. But they were saying something about it was unjust or some shit. But the payday loan was to me a way better thing because now you're bringing the title to your house, your title to your car. You're bringing the title to some major things, which you actually need, which that could have been part of their plan, But it says what? Heavy debt, right? And that's where people at. A lot of people are homeless, things like that, heavy debt, and so is America. America's in heavy debt. The debt system, right? Which they're gonna get you to pay. You're the commodity, a part of this debt, right? Thick clay, pond goods, right? And that's what they're about to do. You in itself as the people are the pawn goods. Yeah. So basically, come back here right and just finish this up real quick. I'll just start at 5 again. It says Yahweh Basham Yahushai have broken the staff of the wicked, right? And the wicked being Esau, right? Job 9:24, the earth is given into the hands of the wicked. Also Malachi 1:4, right? The bounds. You know what I'm saying? You're known as the bounds of the wicked, right? Which I might have to get that just to just for edification real quick. But that goes into knowing that you Edomites are the wicked, right? Right? The staff of the wicked, right? Because you're ruling over the world, right now. And it says and the scepter, right? Scepter is what? Rulership, like a king. A king will have a scepter, right? Talking about the king of Babylon, right? Which also, it's this America spiritually Babylon, but it's also spiritually Egypt. And so we have a cruel lord, right? Which is spiritually Egypt, man. The Egyptians have a cruel lord, and he's bringing in that debt, right? And making you part of that of the debt. Right? Now you're the commodity. Right? Now you're gonna show you how they really feel about you being the goyim, right? Which just means cattle. Right? And they're gonna digitally tag you, showing you that you're just a cattle, you're the beast. Right? The mark, the MARK of a beast, right? Right? And that's how they feel about you. You're nothing to them, right? It says, the scepter of the ruler, right? Which for rulership, king, he who smote the people, right? Going around the world, with the military smoting people, right? Smote meaning to kill, right? Or to inflict, right? The people with wrath, with a continual stroke, right? They always continue to stay in war. We broke that down. Continue to stay in war. The youngest country in the world stays in war. They in war right now, right? And can't get out. Trump was trying to backpedal, trying to see if he could get him out. Zelensky said, "No, I don't want to give it up. I don't want to give up, and I don't want to recognize Crimea as Russia, and I don't want all these different things that's happening, which really all might be staged. It might be all. This is all the thing that they think that they want, but it's gonna be the demise at the end of the day. Who put with the continual stroke? He that ruled the nations in anger, right? Right? You've been the golden cup in the Lord's hand for a long time. You ruled over the nation. You were this great thing that every country looked up to at one point in time, except for Russia, right? You had that Cold War against Russia for a little while. Russia was like, I'm unimpressed, and just like now, they're here, and you put the tariffs on them, and really Russia got richer since you put the tariffs on them. Can you imagine if you didn't put the tariffs on them? You know what I'm saying? You not putting the tariffs on Russia might have been the better thing. Because whether you're playing a game or not, right? Because you all in cahoots with, as far as the digital, the digital all, right? The Karagma, Karax, and Grapho, you're all on board with that. But Russia still got richer, right? China's still richer than this place. So I don't know what would you be doing when this is your cash cow, when all the foolish, right? China brought out that most all those $1 million handbags were made right there in the same sweatshop as the so-called knockoff, and maybe when they send it to Europe, they'll probably put a little bit more stitching over it to try to make it so it don't look like the knockoff, to prove that it's authentic, right? Which I mean, you could do that. I guess they tell you the beauty is in the eye of the beholder. You can put whatever price you want to put on it on a thing once you know what I mean. But you laid a continual stroke against the nations. He that ruled the nations in anger is persecuted, and none hindereth. So now it's a time that people hate you. People ain't too fond of the American, and people ain't too fond of the Jewish people, right? The Israeli people, right? Yeah, so this is Proverbs chapter 14, verse 20. It says, the poor is hated even of his own neighbors. And that's the reason why you have, what's it called? Gang violence, right? So-called black on black crime, right? So to speak. But then you have Edomite towards so-called black personal crime, right? Which they call it'll turn racial, so-called racial crimes. But it's really because you're poor. They're poor, you're poor, and not to mention, it's just in the spirit. It's in the spirit of an Edomite to hate a Jake, right? Then you put poor conditions on top of the hatred, the poor conditions, right? And you add in drugs, you add in this, you add in all these different things, these pressure from above, pressure from beneath. Now people are acting the way that the government has set up, which government means mind control. They're leading you to the way they want you to go, which ultimately leading you to the Karagma. Before, everybody used to say cash is king, but all of a sudden, everybody's using credit cards and all these different things, even though when you go to the liquor store or you go to the gas station, it literally tells you that gas is cheaper if you use cash. Even today, I drive by some gas stations and it'll tell you it's right now things is what 340 something. So you can get your gas for $3.35 with cash, but if you pay with your card, you're gonna pay $3.45 with your card. And then sometimes, depending on what station you go to, they add another 35 cents or 50 cents to where you go. But if you paid in cash, which you're going the way that they want you to go, because everybody's using their card, everybody's tapping. So you're going the way that they need you to go anyway, right? Right, and you hate your neighbor so much, you're not thinking about having cash, because they might ask you, can to borrow something, or somebody homeless might say, hey, you think you got $1, so you don't want anything, no. I've seen people say, no, I don't carry cash just for that reason, just so if someone ever asks me for some money, no, I don't have any cash, all I have is cards. So you're going the way that they want you to go, which basically means government, and so you hate your neighbors, right? But the rich have many friends, right? Hey, man. And that's where Trump is at. He's got as many friends there, right? The oligarchy, all these rich billionaires. It says a poor person is disliked even by his neighbors, right? But those who love the rich are many, man. A lot. Even the poor, even as poor as you are, everybody... With all this madness Donald Trump is spilling out, people still love this guy. Even the mega, after this dude betrayed them, right? Yeah, this is Ecclesiasticus chapter 13 in the Apocrypha, which is canon, by the way. As the wild ass is the lion's prey in the wilderness, so the rich eat up the poor, man. They about to just destroy the economy. That's basically what they're doing, wiping out the middle class, doing the thing, wiping it all out. Hey, and just gonna wipe it out to it's just gonna be the poor and them, not even the middle class, right? They don't give a damn if they're gonna destroy everything you've ever had. Everything, they don't care. They're gonna eat you all up, right? Those of you that don't die, you're gonna get the charagma, and you're gonna follow their instructions, right? That's how they see it. That's it. You're nothing to them, right? As the proud, right? They're proud. The proud hateth the humble, hateth humility. Right? Yeah, they don't like to get humble and have straight up true humility, right? So doeth the rich abhor the poor, man. Hey, they don't like the poor, right? And a poor man, most poor people got humility, you know. Some of the coldest thing I ever seen is poor people that don't really have nothing. They're really genuine. I had a mess up. Genuous with their things. They share. I mean, here you go. And they don't have nothing. I mean, I've seen a dude. He's like, so what's up, dude? He told it was a poor dude. He's like, I'm living on the street myself, man. And dude was like, man, you got any money so I can eat? He's like, I don't got nothing myself. He said, all I got is this little bit of money. He said, I'm gonna buy this pizza and that's it. After that, he said, but I'll give you a slice or two. And it's a dude who don't really got nothing himself, willing to give a person another slice of his thing that he don't have much of himself. Right? But the rich sitting with trillions and billions of dollars, that's yeah, there's no humility with them, right? They don't want that. There's no humility with that. Salakia. Yeah, they abhor the poor. A rich man beginneth to fall and is held up of his friends, but because like Donald Trump, he's been was it Chapter 11, right? Bankruptcy, right? He had to file bankruptcy several times, but every time he had to file bankruptcy, he even said it himself. He had a friend or two give him $1 million or two or whatever it was to get him back where he needed to be at. Now this dude done had I don't know how many bankruptcies. This guy is talking about being your president, and the time that this country basically needs to file for bankruptcy, but there's no who do you file bankruptcy, and what person do you go to as a friend that's willing to prop you back up? And that's kind of like what Trump is looking for. He's looking at Europe like, wait a minute, we've been funding and paying you guys for this long, and we've been doing all these things, and we've been paying more than our fair share to all these different things. Who's going to help prop us up? We actually need it now. But no one's coming to America's aid. That's what the Lord said. You're going to fall, and no one's hindering. No one's going to stop it. Right? A rich man beginning to fall is held up of his friends, but a poor man being down is thrust away by his friends. Hey man, hey man, you know what I mean? I can't help you, right? Right? And sometimes you got poor people who's bitter, right? Like on one contract, I've seen the most humble thing from another poor person to another poor person, but sometimes you can see the most meanest things from a poor person to another poor person, right? Yeah. It says, this is Job chapter 9, verse 24. The earth is given into the hands, right? Who gave it? The Most High gave it to you. It wasn't of your own magnificence, but that's the pompous, the pride of Edom, man, the pride of the rich, man. They make it like they got it all on their own, but they didn't. You got it from rape, robbing, murder first and foremost, and then ultimately, the only way you can win a war or lose a war is if the Most High sanctions it, right? And so far, you've been losing all your wars lately. You've been going to war for 20 years, really longer than that. Go back to the Vietnam War, you lost that. You lost the war, Desert Sands War. You lost that. You lost all your wars, man. You losing the Ukraine war. You lost the war on drugs. Man, hey, Esau ain't got into his mind that he's a loser, right? But hey, the Most High is going to come in and ultimately show you, right? So the earth is given to the hands of the wicked. He covered the faces of the judges, right? And the ultimate judge is Yahweh through his son Yahweh Shai, and that's who you covered over, man. You covered over Yahweh Shai. Well, even Yahweh, man, you got him in the what's it called, the 16 chapel, right? You got him like touching hands like some moles, and well, that ain't the Lord and his son, because that doesn't compute with what the scriptures say, man. The Lord is an austere man. He don't play, man. The Lord is a man of war. And you're about to find that out real soon, right? How much of a man of war he really is, right? And yeah, and you, because you cover up the faces of the judges thereof. If not, where is he, man? Only you put up that picture of Cesare Borgia, went and used that to conquer the world, and now your idea is digitalize everything, and your what's it called? Not democracy, but you technocracy. Yeah, the technocracy, right? Yeah, so this is Malachi chapter 1, verse 4. Edom, right, which Esau, Edom, you self-proclaimed so-called white people, and even you chocolate-covered Edomites. Hey, you're all going to get it, man. You Edomites who look like Ishmael, you Edomites that look like Moab, right? Because there's that too, right? Just like Jake have Jakes that look like Moab, Jakes that look like Ishmael and all the other nations, Hamites and stuff. Esau got that too. But that's all about to get put to an end. Whereas Edom say we are impoverished, right? You were the poor person, but then you just despise poor people now. When you were impoverished, it was poor you, right? It's always poor you, sympathy for the devil, right? But someone else is in, and there's no sympathy, right? But that's why the Lord's going to destroy you. But we will return and build the desolate places. Thus saith Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, of hosts meaning armies, they shall build, right? And that's what they're doing now. They're rebuilding. That's what this new, what it say? New digital age, right? You're rebuilding. They shall build, but I will throw down, right? And they shall call them the border of wickedness and the people against whom Yahweh, right? Bahasham, which means in the name, Yahweh Shai, which means he salvation, right? And who is he salvation for? For his people, for their sins, right? And the only way you can sin is transgression of the law, who were given the ordinance and the statutes and commandments to obey the law, statutes, and commandments, right? Which are his people, starting with the elect, right? Whom Yahweh have indignation forever, and the Lord has indignation, righteous anger, with you Edomites forever. And that's ultimately what you're doing. You hate the poor. You're going to push this charagma, this system, right? 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 Through the debt. Everybody's and then, because the elite could just do a reset the debt and start all over. And I mean, that would be the smartest thing to do. But hey, let the missiles fly. So with all that, hey, I hope that's this edifying. So with all that, I want to give all praises and all honor and all glory unto Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakakwadash. Double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well and do well. The elder apostles, bishops in Connecticut, the bishops, the preachers, the teachers, the evangelists, and the four winds, preaching in truth and sincerity, risking your lives more now than ever, the hopeful elect, Shalom to the Israelite foreigners, who phenotype may look like another nation, but bloodline goes back to Israel through your father and have come back to the fold. Shalom to you sisters, you Akwathium, who listen and learn under your husband, which is your spiritual leader, with meekness and with silence. And a Baba Ball and Kwam Yasharallah.